Hello, I'm Andrew Rae. Welcome to part 2 of my online tutorial series, Luck of the Draw. This is the follow-up to part 1, where I talked about my general approach to drawing and sketching. In this tutorial, I'll talk more specifically about different ways of drawing, working with clients, generating ideas, and working up artwork. So, lots to fit in. Let's get started, shall we? It's good to have rules to follow when you're drawing, otherwise you can easily become overwhelmed with all the possibilities. Early on, I decided to always draw with a black pen, not a pencil. It forced me to be brave and stop worrying about making mistakes. Often it's the mistakes that add character to the drawing. A confident line is much better than a tentative one. However, the more complex the drawing gets, the more stressful it becomes, because one tiny mistake can ruin the whole drawing. That's where getting the drawing onto the computer helps, as you can always fix your mistakes later. Generating ideas. This is a big one. Being able to come up with fresh ideas is just as important as being able to draw well. When I need to come up with an idea for a client, it's useful to flick through sketchbooks and notes I've kept on my phone and apply them to the job at hand. When working with a client, you need to be able to leave space to make changes at the last minute. Don't show clients ideas that you're not keen on, as they'll invariably pick them. Getting stuck. Norman Rockwell said, "If a picture isn't going well, I'll put a puppy in it, and if it's going really badly, I'll put a bandage on its foot." Sometimes the planets will align and everything will go great, but more often than not, you'll need a change of scene. Go for a walk, play the guitar, play the piano, watch TV, have something to eat, put on your thinking hat, scream at the sky. If all else fails, start doodling and work it out on the page. Ideas are more likely to come when you're drawing, even if you're not inspired. The hardest thing when you're working to a brief is retaining the lightness of touch that you get from sketching. When there's a bigger budget and client expectations, you often feel as if you need to spend more time on it, so it's easy to overwork it. I often end up simplifying a drawing and removing elements later. If I'm unsure, I'll often send unfinished work to clients, as they like to be included in the process. Sometimes I'll send something half-baked just to buy me time. This is how I work up a rough into a finished piece. Tweaking the drawing, adding colour, adding shading and lighting effects to give it a finished look. What makes a drawing finished? Often the way that drawing is being used dictates how you finish it. It could just be a black and white line drawing if it's a one-colour print, or it could be a full-colour lush screen print with fluorescent inks, or a lovely foil block print. Or a full-colour CMYK printed poster. Or something completely different. But sometimes after all that, clients will just go back and use the rough. There are lots of different types of drawing. Drawing purely as practice, doodling, a kind of drawing where you're not even really thinking, sketching up ideas, drawing purely from the imagination. I always try to surprise myself as I'm drawing. Character drawing, trying to make interesting expressive characters. Drawing from life. This is about working out how much detail to include. As Einstein said, make things as simple as possible but not simpler. Drawings that communicate ideas that complement text. Comic strip drawings. These are about creating a narrative, a series of drawings that tell a story. Working with clients. Quite often clients will come to you having seen a drawing you've already done, and they either want something very similar or exactly the same. Other times clients have a piece of text that they need illuminated in some way. I get asked to do a lot of very busy character images, a bit like this. Sometimes, particularly in advertising work, they have a very specific idea of what they want and they just need you to work it up. Often they ask me to add a little humour as well. Normally, the more money there is, the less freedom. Comic strips are a hard one to categorise because they can work in so many different ways, but generally you'll be pitching an idea to a client and then they'll decide whether they want to publish it. Thanks for watching this tutorial. Do check out part 3 to see how I get my work back out of the computer into the real world and the joy of receiving printed work.